You are terrified of regret. You agonize over every decision, big and small, because you don't want to look back and think I should have, running every scenario and consulting every friend and reading every review, trying to future-proof your life against the sting of remorse. And here's the paradox. That will make you want to stop calculating and start living. The more you try to avoid future regret, the more certain you are to experience it. Because regret isn't caused by making mistakes. It's caused by not living according to your values. And the fear of regret leads you to play it safe, to choose the path of least future remorse, which is usually the path of least risk and least passion and least authenticity. So you marry the safe person instead of the one you love, and take the stable job instead of the one that calls to you. And 20 years later, you don't regret the risks you took. You regret the risks you didn't take. And the data is unequivocal. The most comprehensive study of regret ever conducted, finding that the overwhelming majority of people's biggest regrets are regrets of inaction, not action. They regret not pursuing a dream and not telling someone they love them, and not starting the business. And they rarely regret trying and failing because the pain of a failed attempt fades, while the pain of a road not taken grows with every passing year. And the neuroscience is cruel. Your brain's memory system bias toward inaction, because when you act and fail, you get feedback and learning and closure, and the memory integrates and fades. But when you don't act, there is no feedback, only an open loop, a ghost of possibility that haunts you forever while your imagination invents ever more golden outcomes. So the regret of inaction is infinite, while the regret of inaction is infinite, while the regret of action is finite, because reality eventually answers. And the American twist is we've built a culture of regret avoidance so powerful it's become a cage. Risk assessment tools and insurance for every failure, and degrees for careers we don't want, and mortgages for houses we don't love, making decisions to avoid the shame of being wrong, and then spending the rest of our lives dying a slow death of what if, the most common deathbed regret being, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me, which isn't a regret of action, but of inaction, wrapped in the fear of judgment and the quiet reversal that only fully lands when you stop hedging long enough to feel the ache of the door you never opened. The people with the fewest regrets are not the ones who made the fewest mistakes. They're the ones who made the most courageous mistakes. They're the ones who made the most courageous mistakes, taking the risk and failing sometimes and succeeding sometimes and keeping moving, understanding that regret isn't the enemy but indecision is, and you will never regret loving too much or trying too hard. You will only regret not trying. So they stop asking, will I regret this? And start asking, will I regret this? And start asking, will I regret not doing this more? Knowing that in 50 years they won't remember the embarrassment of a failed attempt, but they will remember the ache of a door never opened. And I need to tell you about Dana, a regret farer who stayed in a mediocre relationship for 8 years because breaking up might be a mistake, and stayed in a dull job for 12 years because quitting might be a regret, miserable and safe and suffocating, until her grandmother on her deathbed took her hand and said, I regret the things I didn't do, not the things I did. Don't be me. And Dana quit her job the next week and broke up with her partner the week after and moved to a city she'd always wanted to try and failed at several things and had a terrible first year. Then met someone and found work she loved and built a life that looked nothing like the old one. Telling me I was so afraid of regretting a wrong move that I spent 20 years not moving at all. Now I regret the 20 years, but I'm done regretting. I'm too busy living. And the American cognitive paradox is right here. We fear regret so much that we build lives designed to avoid it, and those lives become the biggest regret of all. The only way out is to choose badly sometimes, and fail publicly, and take the leap and land in the mud, because mud washes off while the door that stays closed rusts forever. And right now your brain might argue you need to be careful, and some choices really are irreversible. And you're right. Some caution is wisdom, but ask yourself which decisions you're avoiding out of genuine prudence and which out of pure terror, because the terror feels like wisdom, and that's the trap. So if the impulse just stirred to send this to someone waiting for the perfect moment, that's not about me. It's the high Recognition that the perfect moment is a lie, and the only moment that counts is now. And the first real courage you've shown in years might be doing something today that you might regret just to prove you can survive regret. And the question from the beginning, why does the fear of regret guarantee? Regret has an answer that only a second viewing fully reveals. Regret is not the enemy. The enemy is the fear itself. The fear that keeps you small and safe and sorry. So now go do something you might regret. That's an order.